What's up, visionary? I am Clee Davis, your vision actualization mentor, helping you break down your vision building barriers. And today we are talking about how to overcome the fear of failure, part 2. Now, in the previous episode of the show, we talked about the fear of failure with Pierre Quinn. And I want to expound on that episode and give you the step-by-step process of how to break down the barrier of fear in the vision building process. The major problem with the fear of failure is the ability for fear itself to always be rational to the individual. Think of what you're scared of. There's always a rational reason, at least to you, there's a rational reason of why it makes sense to be fearful. I'll be straight up, okay? I have a fear of roller coasters and rides that that can potentially catapult me out the sky and kill me if something goes wrong. See, even right there, in my explaining my fear, I was already justifying why my fear was rational. 99.99% of fear is rational. It makes sense. God designed us to have fears. It's a defense mechanism, a mode of survival. It keeps us alive. Fear can be positive in some cases, actually. But fear is never positive when it's limiting your potential. A study in 2011 published by the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology asked 2 groups of college students to write about what lay in store for the upcoming week. One group was asked to imagine that the week would be great. The other group was just asked to write down any thoughts they had about the week that came to mind. The students who were asked to imagine the week would be great actually reported feeling less energized and went on to accomplish less during the week than the other control group that was just asked to simply write what they thought and came to mind. So this means that positive thinking alone is not enough. Research has shown that the best outcomes are actually created when we balance positive thinking with visualizing the future obstacles and struggles that we will encounter. Positive thoughts are great and all, but they don't fix the problem. And this podcast is all about creating solutions and results. So how do we get the results that we want when it comes to overcoming the fear of failure? The first step is acknowledging that scared little kid Pierre was talking about in the last episode. Avoiding the feeling of fear is not the answer. Embrace that you, in fact, are afraid. The English writer and philosopher Aldous Huxley once said, "Most ignorance is invincible ignorance. We don't know because we don't want to know." Well said, Aldous. I want you to write down what specific fear of failure is potentially holding you back from reaching your goals and your vision. Be honest with yourself, brutally honest. No one is going to see this but you. For example, I had a fear of calling myself a vision actualization coach and a podcaster to people outside my immediate circle. I would often downplay what I did, or I would rather explain other facets of my career. And I first realized that I had a problem. I had to realize that I had to stop making excuses and justifying my behavior. I had to realize that I am doing a certain action that I am not proud of, and the root of that action is fear. Now, I need to ask myself why. Why in the world am I afraid? There's always a reason. Fear doesn't just appear out of thin air. That doesn't happen. So even if it sounds silly, even if it emotionally hurts, write it down. We are diagnosing the illness, not the symptoms here. Write it down onto paper or type it in your phone, whatever works for you. My reason for being afraid was I thought some people just wouldn't take me seriously. What if people thought I was too young? Deep down inside, I honestly felt imposter syndrome. Who am I to call myself a coach? Am I even qualified enough? I didn't have a bunch of clients, and I wasn't proud of my online presence. So what if they look me up and see my website and think I'm a joke and don't take me seriously? These were all reasons why I was afraid. But I didn't even realize this until I took the time to ask myself the specific question and write it down. Sometimes we can cover our fears with blanket statements like insecurity or a phobia or I'm just being soft or something like that. And even if that's true, the real reason is more detailed than one word. Get to the real reason. Okay, so I'm assuming that you've done that. Now that you know the reason, let's see if we can find some answers. How do we solve this problem of fear? Is it even solvable? In the context of fear of failure, yes. Yes, there is usually a solution, and the solution usually is pretty simple. Not easy. No, realize the difference. Simple. Not easy, but simple. I really want you to try your hardest on this part. I know you're smart because you're listening to this podcast, so I know you got this. Provide a solution to fix your reasonings for your fear. I know that sounded kind of like, what are you talking about? But here's an example. For example, I came up with reasons why being young is actually an advantage in my field. And I can clearly express that to others who inquire about my age. If people don't take me seriously, does that affect my financial or physical well-being? No, it doesn't. So whatever they think shouldn't have an impact on me anyway. Now, of course, we do crave the affirmation and respect of others as human beings. It's in our nature. But those who take the time to understand and respect what I do are the people whose opinions I actually care about. Those who don't, their respect and affirmation wasn't authentic anyway. It was shallow, and I don't want that. This is the kind of thought processing I am suggesting. I made sure that I got my website professionally designed so that I would no longer have the fear of people laughing at my online footprint. I took immediate action to resolve my fears at the root of their reasoning. Some of these solutions will be immediate and some will take time. But the confidence that you feel from knowing that you are moving in the right direction will definitely change how you feel and will alleviate some of that, if not all, your fear of failure. Now, this can only happen if you take action on your solutions. Nothing will change if you acknowledge the fear and do nothing about it. You have to take action on it. To help with this, I placed a custom PDF in the show notes and description that outlines everything we discussed in the episode. It's called the Key Guide Sheet. And I know it's difficult to remember everything I said, so all you have to do is brainstorm and fill this out. Post it in your room, put it on your desk, and take action on it. I hope that this episode was helpful to you and gave you some practical points on how to put this overcoming fear of failure into actual practice. If you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me on social media, which will be in the show notes, or you can go on my website on my Ask Clee page and ask me anything you want. Make sure you subscribe to the show. You don't want to miss this weekly visionary value, so make sure you subscribe. I will talk to you guys in a few days in the next episode. And as always, until then, keep building your vision every single day. Peace.